All right, guys. Today we have here Amir Reiter. He's the CEO of CloudTask, which is a marketplace for remote and vetted sales talent and agencies. He's been running his company remotely for 8 years, bootstrapped, no VC funding, and he runs it from all across the world. Headquartered in Miami, but everyone is physically located in Medellin, Colombia. They're making money, living the good life. Amir, it's good to have you.
It's great to be here. If you hear a little squeaky thing, it's my little puppy.
That's awesome.
I'm not going to take it from him. He'll start barking. But yeah,
Wait, can we see?
A 5-month-old Vizsla right there.
Nice.
He's cute. He's a cute dog. But he's
large too.
Like me, he's hyper. He's 5 months.
Yeah.
He's going to be an animal. He's the son of the champion in Argentina. I flew down to Buenos Aires and picked him up a couple months ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. He's a prince.
Yeah. He's the most popular guy in the neighborhood. All the dogs want him, whether they're girls or guys, which is interesting, but they all seem to like him.
That's amazing. Life of royalty. So would love to learn a little bit more about you, your background, how you got started, and then we can jump into the meat of it.
Yeah, I'm a human being first, right? And I'm super passionate about business, and I'm a good old capitalist. I feel like I was born in the 1960s because I don't feel like I necessarily align with the current world. And I've always been a small business owner. I took a small stint working for NetSuite when I was 30 and at surgical robotic companies to get my corporate stamp of approval, but quickly got fired from NetSuite, even though I was third place. And I didn't post my firing call on the internet, and I wasn't given a reason, but I didn't care because I'm not a victim and things happen for me, not to me. So when I got fired, instead of going to TikTok, I opened up CloudTask and I got revenge by helping over my manager. His name is Grant McGrail. He said to me, and I remember this, he goes, "Amir, are you sure you're a software sales guy?" That's what he said to me. And my revenge was launching CloudTask and helping sell over $700 million of SaaS over the last 8 years by influencing pipeline, right? So the best revenge is success, not posting your sad story on TikTok for the amazing 6-figure job that you have and poor victims of opportunity, right? So, that's how I got to CloudTask, and I moved to Colombia really because of I moved to Colombia because it's freaking beautiful. My 8,000 square foot mansion is $6,000 a month. I probably can get a 2-bedroom maybe in San Francisco for the same price. And so I'm living in Colombia because I choose to. I save 75% of my cost of living. I'm a big believer that money saved is the same thing as money earned. I'm constantly trying to earn more money and save more money. And, big proponent of remote work. I think remote is here to stay and it's not going anywhere. And those that don't adopt that will suffer and find out the hard way.
You seem to be on the cusp and the bleeding edge of future trends. Like you jumped on the remote bandwagon very early, learned to save money, jumped into B2B sales, talent marketplace. How did you get ahead of the curve so quickly on all these fronts?
I live in that space. There's a leader and laggard curve, and I'm just an early adopter. I used to actually do surgical spine surgery. I was the first person ever to assist a T1 robotic surgery in North America. I wasn't the surgeon. I was the guy operating the robot. So it's interesting because 99% of the world is threatened by change. I am exhilarated and thrilled by change, and I just live in the future, and it's just a disease I suffer from, or a gift, a curse, depending on perspective. But I get bored very easily, and makes sense. I got a RevOps marketplace now. I get to play with all the sales toys out there, right? You got a new toy, let's list it. I'll play with it and sell it. So I find myself naturally falling into the early adopter portion of the leader curve, and I couldn't change if I wanted to.
That's amazing. It's a personality. It must be like
you're the same thing, dude.
Well,
zero chance to be able to sell software without being an early adopter of technology.
Co-founder and head of marketing. Our CEO is actually Max.
Same thing.
But so you must have taken a lot of risks in your life. Have some of them not worked out?
Yeah, I lost $1 million in 2022 in the stock market, but actually no, it was 800,000. I rounded up. I didn't technically
unrealized or realized because it's always come back.
Unrealized, 800K.
Well, and it's
lots of risk. I doubled down.
Yeah,
kept buying more, and I crossed $1 million last year. of profit.
A profit since, so you're
It's
ahead. You haven't
basically a
lost any of
high
it then.
risk story and a good ending
A
in
good
one.
outcome.
Yeah. But I'm 40 years
Okay.
old and I've learned to be disciplined, kind
Right.
of.
Yeah.
So my whole Warren Buffett thing is if you bought the companies then and they go down, then they're on discount, you got to buy more. And I listened to him and it worked. Surprise, surprise, listening to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Who would have fucking thought?
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most successful
Yeah,
investors in the world.
I am extremely high risk. I'll give you a funny story that happened that was risky. So in Colombia, I drive a BMW X5M, which is a nice car here. In America, it's probably like everyone else drives those things. And I was at the airport picking up my family. And the transit cop, he saw I was a gringo. And my parents are 82. They had like really struggled on a flight. They were all in the car. And the cop was like, he was about to start his thing where he was going to ask me for everything. And I knew what he was going to do. He was going to keep me for a while and then take a $30 bribe because that's what they do here.
So they do.
And I drove away.
That's what they're there for.
So picture me, a 40-year-old man, family in the car, driving away from cops. It's just an Amir Reiter thing to do in my family, but it worked because we would have stayed there for 2 hours. And of course,
You drove away, but then they didn't come after you? Nah. Your license plate or anything like that? You live there. Nah. So that's a pretty high risk.
Yeah. Well, this is like a $100 risk. You give anybody $100 here and you're free to go. Huh. I don't condone that, but that's just how it works here.
That's what I heard
as well. They pull you over for money.
No, it's for 100%. That's why they bring all the tourists in.
They pull you over for cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not the most.
That was a high risk story that happened recently.
How about like in your career besides the $1 million loss?
Oh, I literally imported machines that took water from the air at age 22 to start a water company called Innovative Water.
Genius.
Yeah, but so I learned hard that like not every factory is the same and quality is not always the same, and the machines were just super loud. They were vibrating, and I had like $22,000 worth of these machines. I had to like unload the 20-foot container myself, and fortunately, they had the water line still option, so I converted them all back to water line, sold it. But that was definitely, I'm like, look, not that many 22-year-olds are importing containers from China. I did that. I wouldn't recommend it to somebody, but high risk. Yeah.
What brings someone to even think about this idea? Like, how do you start your day? How do you end your day? How do you?
Because I got hired by a water company called Ultimate Water when I was 22 out of college, and I was going door to door doing sales. And then they effed me over on some commissions, and I decided that F you, I was the top sales guy, and I'm going to go start my own business. And then instead of staying focused on the same water machine with the water line, I got my attention to the new shiny thing because I'm, a futurist, and I was like, water from air, this is amazing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of problems with that. First, you try to tell people they can save money on bottled water, but it costs $6 a day on a compressor to make the water out of there. So I'm like, there's the good and the bad of living in the future. But that was that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's because then soon after that, you hear all this news about day zero coming out for all these big cities. So again, you were probably ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and now I see, it's funny because I see a lot of ads where people like talk about this new technology that brings water out of the air. And I'm like, dude, this was 40 years ago. So it's just like hilarious.
Just a little bit delayed,
Yeah, like new label, new technology. No, it's called a fucking air conditioner. Flex water.
Yeah. All right. So let's shift gears a little bit into CloudTask. You've been running CloudTask for 8 years.
Yeah.
You said you lose interest in things very quickly. You haven't lost interest in this. What's going on here?
Transparently, as a service company, CloudTask was 265 employees. Our net profit was close to $1 million, and I ripped the company apart then. So I kind of did lose interest. Most people wouldn't do that to a 7-figure company, but I did because I kind of felt like I would have been stuck with success, and that any more profit I would never been able to change. And I really was frustrated with the way the status quo, where buyers wanted to be lied to, right? Like if a buyer came to me and was like, Amir, I want to outsource some sales. And I didn't go, yes, we can do that. Yes. They would go somewhere else. And I felt annoyed that I couldn't be honest and I couldn't tell people the truth. So I created a platform where I could be honest. Now I could be like, hey, I don't care who you pick. I got 210 sales agencies. I'm not trying to sell you one. I'm trying to make sure that you get the revenue goals. Because if you don't, and you're a Series A company, they're going to take back your stock. So why are you trying to save $5,000 a month when they're going to take $100 million of stock from you? So I built a platform where I can help buyers and sellers not beat each other up, not F each other over. And I just got sick and tired of status quo. And I took a giant leap into helping agencies find the right buyers and buyers find the right agencies. And I also am a big proponent of underrepresented job seekers, people that are highly talented, don't live in America, want to work hard, but they only have an option to maybe work in a call center. So, by being a remote candidate, I think one person was hired through our marketplace through you back in the day. I think it was Carlos, right?
That's right.
Carlos didn't have an opportunity to work with an awesome company like yours. He signed up for our marketplace. Now he's a full-time guy for the last 12 months, right? So I just get a pleasure out of helping owners and sales leaders make money, save money, be more profitable. And I have a pleasure out of helping amazing sellers that build amazing software technology like you guys, or candidates, sales reps, or agencies make money too. So I put myself in that both side of the buyer and the seller. Yep. And it's kind of like, to be honest, right? Like if you want to buy a car and you go to a car dealership that's Mercedes, and you're like, is this the right car for me? They're like, yeah, it is, because it's a Mercedes dealership. But if you go to a dealership that has BMW, Audi, Mercedes, Porsche, Volvo, and you ask them, what's the right car for me? They can honestly answer your question because they have the choices. So by being a marketplace, I'm not just selling CloudTask like I used to be. Now I'm selling the 10,000 amazing technologies, candidates, and agencies out there. So it just feels awesome. I like it.
Yeah,
you're a lot smaller, right?
Yep.
We keep it a small fee, just like Airbnb or Uber. A lot of people don't realize that Airbnb is a marketplace. A lot of people don't realize that Amazon's a marketplace. They just buy stuff and it shows up at the door. They don't really realize that there's a merchant selling a product and a fee is being taken by Amazon. Well, that's exactly how our marketplace works.
It feels like you're at this intersection of 3 or 6 or 5 different zones of genius. You're a super connector, which you're naturally very good at. You have a sales background, so you understand the salespeople. And then you naturally want to help folks who want to be helped, underrepresented folks who aren't able to get the same opportunities, and also companies who want to make sure they achieve their goals. So how does that feel?
Well, firstly, I appreciate you saying that some of that you can be interpreted as a compliment, and I'll take it. I would say that one thing you miss is that I also think I'm a complete moron, which puts me in a situation where I'm always learning. So I have a very high ego where I think I could do anything in the world, and then I have the reality that I'm nothing. So I think I live in a duality, in a constant moment, right? Where you can do anything in the world, right? Like my goal is to build a multi-billion-dollar organization. Right. And then I realize that I am literally just a bag of bones and blood on a rock floating around. So it's like this, that it makes me humble, if that makes sense, where it's hard to say that. It's like, I think I'm an idiot, and that's what makes me smart. But I feel like that's the biggest thing that sets me apart is when you think you're an idiot and you're a lifelong learner, all of a sudden things come at your way. And just to add one more thing to that, I'm a lifelong learner, right? So I listened to Warren Buffett, and I heard about people who paid millions of dollars to have a lunch with Warren Buffett. You guess what happens during those lunches? Warren just asks them questions about themselves. Because guess why? He's the richest man in the world. Because he doesn't need to act smart. He picks everyone's brain. They pay him, and he just picks their brain. So if you know the smartest man, one of the smartest guys doing that, then it's like I start learning. I'm like, it's not about me anymore. I got to talk about you. If this was my podcast, I'd be asking you a million questions, but I'm not.
And I wonder if Warren feels like he's made it. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, some of the best fighters out there. I don't know if you follow the UFC, but one of my favorites is Israel Adesanya. He constantly, even before he suffered, I think his second loss, was saying that like you have to think you're the shit, biggest ego, but also that you ain't shit. Because at any given point in the fight, you could get caught and it could all be over.
Well, that's the reality. You do have the power to achieve anything in this world possible, and you are nothing at the same time. And like for me, it just seems like reality, like
it's invigorating because everything's out there is possible. Yeah, so it can all be taken away too.
Exactly.
Humbled every day.
You just have to feel. That's why I really don't drive well with the victim culture, because I'm like, you're a victim. You're fucking alive. Like, let me go show you some guy with no arms, no hands, no eyes, and then tell him how you're a victim because you got fired from Cloudflare.
So it seems like there's some internet controversy here.
Yeah. There is internet controversy. I'm like, it's sad that we live in a world where like I try to post things all day long that have value, in my opinion, that really help people. But it seems that anything that has to do with gender or victim or anything that's controversial is what people want, and those go viral, and it just frustrates me. But it is the world we live in, right? I think people, it's just weird, but it is what it is, right? I hope that changes, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's the best example of content out there that is both productive,
I
valuable,
just
and
posted something about this. I want to reference her because I was a young lady, but actually somebody on the post said it was disturbing how I wrote young lady. So like, please don't be insulted. She is a lady. I'm 40 years old. She's younger to me, right? So that's just,
right?
I feel like I'm not insulting anybody, but she was let go after 4 months with no sales from Cloudflare, and she posted her exit video. And I put it on the internet being like, hey, is this a good look for her to post it publicly? And 99% of the people said, yes, it's awesome. People should do this more. And then most people said she was fired because she's a woman and because she's fired because she's young. And it became a gender thing when in my mind, it's more of an economy thing. You know, and then like some people are like, yeah, the CEO targets women in sales. And I'm like, he's worth like multi-billion dollars, got a wife and kids. And I'm pretty sure that his full-time job is making sure that investors, both male and female, are happy. And it's just like, to say that the CEO targets women is like, well, okay, because a woman was fired for not getting forced sales. That's your interpretation, but people love that. So that got 55,000 views and 340 comments. And yeah, I'm like, people messaged me being like, you shouldn't fire people like that. And I was like, I am CloudTask, not Cloudflare, right? Like people.
First
like,
of all, let's get that straight.
Yeah, people thought it was me.
That's
and
hilarious.
Then, you know, one of the things that frustrates me, at least, is like I'm colorblind, right? So I suffer from this disease where I don't see humans as, I see humans as humans. I don't see black, white, Asian. I see us all as human beings, right? So some would say that I'm racist for not seeing racism.
That's the irony of it all.
Yeah, you ever see Coleman Hughes on TED Talks? They were going to block his TED Talk where you know, he's an African American guy talking about like how people should be colorblind. But the problem is this: if racism goes away, people lose their jobs. If you build your whole identity on being a victim or being this, and then all of a sudden there is no racism, you're fucked. So they're holding on to it, right? So yeah, I'm colorblind. I suffer from it. Our team right now is probably 30% women. I have my business partner is African American. But guess what? I hired the best person for the best job. When I interviewed everybody, I saw them as humans, right?
Right.
So
right.
My business could have been all women. It could have been all African American. It could have been all Asian. It would have been
turned out that way.
Was the best person for the job, right? But that mentality, I could be called a racist for that, right? In America, right? In America, I would be called a racist for not treating people differently, right? I'm not going to get involved in the deeper details, but yeah, like I won an award for number 36 of Comparably for diversity because we had, you know, like our team was just very diverse. Because like I said before, when you don't judge people by their color, race, ethnicity, or like then your team just becomes whatever it is, right? And when I see these comments coming at me, I'm like, man, I've had women tell me, Amir, I'm the reason they're a business owner, the reason they're independent, right? And then I have people attacking me that I'm, you know, a misogynist somehow. And I feel like I'm only that because of what I am. I feel like I'm just guilty for being existing. And for me, it's like what Elon Musk said, where he's like, people call me all these bad things, but like building Tesla, I'm like really helping the earth, right? I feel like people will look at me and be like, I'm a bad guy just because I'm a guy and I'm whatever I am. But like, I actually help hundreds of women get jobs and careers every month. And I do it with a passion, right? So it sucks that the whole world virtue signals and the people who are actually doing good stuff can become the enemy just because of their gender, right? And because of their nationality. So yeah.
It's really interesting here.
I don't get canceled for this. If I hurt anybody's feelings because I'm colorblind, I suffer from a disease, and you should feel bad for me.
That is Amir's main alibi right now, going forward into the future. That is the central assumption that we have to base all of our judgment off of at this point.
I struggle, guys. I'm trying my best to see everybody differently, but right now I see everybody as a human. I'll do my best to divide us from tribalism.
God forbid that you see everyone the same. My goodness.
You're laughing, bro, but you do know that it is considered. I'm like, dude, did you see Coleman Hughes' podcast on colorblind and the TED Talk? Yes or no?
I haven't seen it.
Go watch it. They suppressed it. They weren't. People in TikTok, they were like, it offended me, hurt my feelings. The guy was literally just saying that the biggest way of getting over racism was to look at everybody as equals.
Mm-hmm.
But you say, 99% of people will say that's racism.
That makes sense. Then there wouldn't be so many problems in the world.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, next topic.
All right. Well, on this topic of building amazing companies, how do you even hire? What is your hiring strategy? How do you advise founders to hire correctly?
Yeah, have a job description, right? Have core KPIs for that person, right? Know what you're testing for. If you're looking for a HubSpot email marketing expert, but you just know to write HubSpot email marketing expert and you don't know what that means, you're fucked. So understand what you're hiring for first. And I recommend that you judge a person not on their color, race, or ethnicity, just on how they can answer the questions on your test or the job. My recommendation. Now, if you want to eliminate certain people, that's up to you, right? I'm not going to stop that. But I would say having clear job description, having clear KPIs, and if you don't understand the details of what you're hiring for, ask questions, use ChatGPT and figure out what that is. Because, right? Like you could say expert this, VP, it doesn't mean anything. Like what makes a VP of sales a VP of sales? Question to you.
Someone who hits revenue goals. However you get there.
What's the difference between an account executive and VP sales if they both hit revenue goals?
The VP of sales is responsible for the revenue of the company.
How do you test that a VP of sales is a VP of sales?
Probably based off historical track record.
What happens if that VP of sales worked at Oracle that had product market fit, 20 million inbound sales and had all the deals? Would that VP of sales be different than a VP of sales at, let's say, your startup, Warmly?
100%. Yes.
Okay. So you see what I'm getting at?
Right. Yeah. I mean, for us, it's we try to see, is this person going to survive? Yeah, totally. For sure. You want to narrow it down. It's kind of like a sales funnel, right? Qualify, and then a group of people that.
Because you're not Oracle, you're a startup. They're completely different positions. A small company is going to be fighting product market fit. You need a VP of sales as an expert in marketplace validation campaigns. If you have if you're a $1 billion company product market fit, your VP of sales might be just a spreadsheet guy running budgets and numbers. They're not all the same.
Yeah.
I would not. I'm a CEO of CloudTask. What do you think my title would be at Oracle? Director at best. I don't know how to manage $30 million quarterly budgets on multiple things. I don't have that experience, but you might be misled with CEO CloudTask. So it's like you like stop dividing us by gender, race, and ethnicity and start dividing us by skill set. You know what I mean? Like that'd be a little bit better.
Nice.
That's where we're not all equal, you know?
Right. Experiences start to diverge pretty quickly, but being human, being who we are.
The natural tendency would be for somebody to go hire a VP of sales that works for a big company because you think, oh my God, this guy works for big. That's the exact opposite of what you should do. You should find a VP of sales that worked for startups, so that product market fit and never gave up. Because then if you hire that VP of sales and you give him a better product, he'll succeed. You hire a VP of sales that worked at a big company, bring him a small company, he has no fucking idea what to do.
Because the product has been succeeding for years without him being there, or she.
Completely different business, dude. I worked at NetSuite. I closed a record-breaking deal in South Florida. It was $400,000. The company was called CloudCare. Yeah. Do you know what I did? I went in the CRM. I went and followed up with all of the account executive before me's deals that were fired. And then the person was like, good, thank you for following up. I'm interested. And then I was just basically customer support. And then I didn't do anything, right? So it's like, and why? Because the company had its brand. It's had its name, right? So it's like, yeah, I don't even know what my point was going at that. But yeah, it's all different strokes for different folks. People have to be really less excited about titles, more entitled. Like my biggest thing, and I was going to put a post about this, is that we really want to know if you're making a good hire. Tell a VP of sales this. You know what? If you take the account executive role, I'll pay you $110,000 base. If you want the VP sales role, I'll give you $100,000 base. If the person takes a smaller base and wants the title, fire him immediately. That's the test. Because anybody who does that cares about the title.
Wouldn't that indicate more responsibility? Like, I want to grow into this leadership role, and I'm happy to take the lower base.
If you test for that and if you need it. I'm not saying no, but that's not hypotheticals, and like likelihoods are not what most of these guys are. Young guys who are SDRs or AEs. They want the title. They want the title and they want the clout. And if you could prove me wrong, fine. But there are account executives at NetSuite making $1 million a year. Account executives at Oracle they are making 5 times more than CEOs. So it's not the fucking title. It's it's like where you are at the time, what your goals are. And whenever people put the title first, it usually creates a mismatch.
That's interesting. Go for the money, huh?
Because they believe it. That I was not a CEO until 35. I would be worth so much more money if I just worked and sold software. It was my wanting to be a CEO, that the ego that hurt my pockets. I can admit it.
But you gained something else. Experience.
No, the story's not over yet, right?
Story's not over. Could still be $1 billion company. You're just investing in the long term. Yeah. Bootstrap, no less. All of that goes.
I still would have had cash if I took the job. If I just if I just worked at NetSuite, I used to have NetSuite for my company. It cost me $30,000 a year. If I just worked for them, I would have crushed it.
This could be that unrealized loss, or you could work for them and maybe something.
Or my job was to have this suffering, have somebody on the podcast listen to it, and they build $1 billion company. I don't know.
Yeah, avenues are always open. People are open-minded. So we talked a little bit about hiring for your company. What about hiring for startups? If they're looking for, like you said, their next VP of sales, the next AE, any advice on how to pick the best talent? Like what you said about picking the salary.
I would say right off the bat, don't hire a VP anything until you cross $10 million in revenue.
Why is that?
Just because of the fact that you're going to hire wrong. You're going to hire the wrong person. You're going to hire somebody who cares about the title, right? Like let somebody earn it over years. And then I would say that we live in a world right now that if you come into entrepreneurship now thinking that you're just going to have to hire people like it used to be, you're dead wrong. I would do my best to automate as much as possible and hire as few people as possible. Okay. I always hire remotely as well and hire globally.
Yeah, let's talk about that. If we're to build the modern day go-to-market team, how do we go about doing it? Looking forward to the future.
First of all, a minimal viable product, which is the most basic product possible, and then a minimal viable campaign to see if people really want it. Even if you get 30 orders of a product you don't have, it's cheaper to get the orders and cancel it than it is to build a product people don't want. So I would have both an MVP of a product and MVP of a go-to-market, right?
Yep.
And then I would test both, make sure they work, and then I would cut everything that people didn't like and only focus on the features that people liked and the people that people liked it until you get to 10 million.
How do you get your message in front of all the people at a low cost, especially when people aren't opening email addresses?
You can hire agencies. That's the lowest cost way of doing it. Or you can do ads. So there's a couple ways of doing it. There's a company like Winter, which I'm not friendly with because the guy Peep is a little bit of a whatever. I messaged him a few times being nice. I was introduced to him by 3 people and he just punked me. So if he ever wants to meet with me, I'm going to say no because of pride and integrity. But his company Winter claims to do go-to-market. I think he charges $30,000, which I think is too much. And they pay out $20 a survey. So that's a company that does almost like a MVP of a go-to-market. Not the biggest fan of the leader, but a fan of the idea. And then you can also do employee ads. So you can literally run ads now on LinkedIn that are under your name, and you could do polls and tests, right? Or you can hire a sales agency that specializes in a market validation campaign just to validate the market. Because why would you go buy $50,000 of data from ZoomInfo or a cheap route, the tools, the rep, when they all have it? So a company I'll give a shout out to Abstract Marketing. They charge $4,900 a month, no contract. They have they spend $1 million a year on ZoomInfo data. They got the data, they got the reps, they have it all. And you can just do month by month and test the market. So that's an MVP. And there's a lot of people out there that are specializing in MVPs. And it's much cheaper to hire. Why would you hire your own construction team when you could just hire a GC? It's the same thing, right? You're I'm going to go build a team to build a house. Well, you only
build a house.
You're building one house.
Burj Khalifa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not many people
So with a
building mobile.
shack.
Same thing, you know?
Yeah. So we get the
Like, why
offer.
hire a lawyer full time when you can work with a law agency? Why hire an accountant full time when you can work with an accounting firm?
No, that's right.
And
Even growing the accounting firm and law firm inside your own firm
yeah,
from scratch.
people think they think in house for life forever. Hello, people are lasting like a year. That girl from Cloudflare that got fired, her last job was 8 months. It's on her resume, on her LinkedIn. Like, open your eyes. It's not
Mm-hmm.
1950. The person who worked at Boeing for 50 years and retires at Boeing, sorry, it doesn't exist anymore. Got to
Right.
adapt, you know?
And who to connect you once you need a job? Who better than CloudTask, than you guys?
Yeah, like, look, we're very good for Latin America. We're very focused on helping Latin America first. We will be global, but our whole thing at first is like, hey, cut your SDR, AE, customer success, customer service cost by half.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we're really
Mm-hmm.
about helping leaders with efficiency. There will definitely be Americans on our platform or global people,
Yeah.
but we're just hyper focused right now on like the cost savings. But yeah, anybody who wants a job in Latin America should sign up to our marketplace. And then if you're in the States, hold off for now because we're not really doing so much for that.
It's actually one of our secret weapons. Actually, is hiring remotely and offshore. There's a cultural difference. The pay is huge.
You hire
or
Latin
nearshore, right? Nearshore, offshore, nearshore for us. We do a little bit of both. Actually, we're testing it out, but it's been working out really well. Like you said, from cost savings.
What's the biggest reason you've been hiring nearshore, and what's surprised you the most with nearshore talent?
Nearshore, we have 2 developers in Brazil. In fact, we're actually thinking about maybe we should have that be our hub for our engineering team going for the future. We start off with a strong base of American-based engineers, and then we found that the talent in Brazil is basically just as good, high quality, culturally very very kind. I'm sorry,
hungry and grateful,
hungry, extremely hungry.
How about grateful?
And yeah, I mean all these things honestly.
Yeah.
And offshore just as much too. So one of our sales assistants is phenomenal. I mean, he's pretty much superhuman.
Yeah.
He's
I built
superhuman guy.
CloudTask with all contractors, and guess what? Here's the best part about it. All my contractors have been with me for 7 years, and they own equity in the company. So this whole concept that you have to be a W-2 to be like long-term and a partner, okay, I'll prove you wrong. You don't. You just need to treat people the right way. You know what I mean? So I don't have any W-2 employees. I never had. And our average tenure right now is 5 to 6 years, which makes me feel old because every time
6 years.
Yeah, every time they tell me that.
When we were just talking about how like most people leave their jobs between 1 and 2 years these days for various reasons.
Definitely. It's on LinkedIn. They're
longer
not even
tenure.
It's not Amir Reiter saying it. It's on LinkedIn. They're just not looking because you know what? People don't want to face the truth. And if they accept that fact that what they thought was wrong, it hurts them. You know what hurts me more? Losing money. It doesn't hurt them until they ran out of money, and then they can't get more. I'd rather be ahead of the curve. And I'm glad that you're hiring in Latin America and nearshore because you know what? You're going to be running a more efficient company. And you know what you can do with the money you save? You can put it into those developers in Brazil and make a better product. And you know who wins when you do that? The customer.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, everybody wins, in fact.
So
when starts when failing, like we might just be a little bit short. Other company might just be a couple months short of it. Yeah. And that couple months could have come out from if you had hired offshore.
By the way, you're on my list of remote candidate case studies. So I'm going to ask you to give a case study for remote candidates.
Happy to. Yeah. I mean, our whole company's.
I just want you to be truthful and honest with my ask.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You're on the list. I don't know if I can show it to you, but I'm not going to because I'll break something.
Can't emphasize this enough because we spend a lot on bringing very expensive talent and local talent in. But in actuality, if you're being hired on and it might be your first job, it's probably not the thing where you're using your creative energy. Not always necessarily. And so for me personally, it's how fast can we implement this idea? And if execution is the only limitation, not to say that my time is the most important thing in the world, but if I could just focus on strategizing and making sure making sure the whole picture works, and I only had 8 hours in the day, let's say, and I could clone myself to do the execution pieces that need to be done, how much more could I get done? I can't
Have
quote myself. There's
you
only
been
one of me.
listening to
So
Dan Martell?
I haven't. This is
I'll
just
send
one
you a
observation. I
podcast.
realized.
He
Yeah.
just wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time, and he talks a lot about what you did in detail.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, I'm starting to see it too.
I'm going to be clipping.
Maybe.
I'm going to be posting some of those shorts, man. You're going to start seeing my content. I'll be educating you.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait. This is all amazing stuff here. Any other last minute advice for founders and salespeople for today? I mean, to do their jobs today.
Yeah, I'll say one thing about sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think anything in sales is expensive, then you don't know the math of your business. Facts. I had a VP of sales recently get a call. He was matched with a sales agency in our marketplace that does pay per meeting. We quoted, it was a bookkeeping service. They quoted him. We do the quote through us, $120 per meeting. The guy goes, "Oh my God, that's expensive." And I go to him. I go, "What's your cost of meeting internally?" He goes, "I don't know."
Yeah.
How the fuck? That's a VP of sales. All right.
Right.
In sales, you either have an ROI or you don't. And if you have an ROI, nothing is expensive. You want to put as much money as possible. Now, saying your ROI time to get a payback is too long, that could make sense. 16 months is too long. I want to pay back in 14 months. Okay. Expensive, the wrong language. So if you have a salesperson that says things are expensive, they don't know sales, they don't know what ROI is, they don't know what an ROS is, and they're buying emotionally. Because if you don't know the math, you're going to use your emotions, and our emotions are usually wrong.
Right. They want to basically pay nothing and then get a lot.
Same guy.
Basically, can I just pay nothing?
This same
and then
guy, I followed up with him. And I go, "Well, did you find out your cost?" And he goes, "No, it's actually free because we get it most from social media." And I was like, "So your fucking salaries, your time, and all that stuff is nothing. It's just free."
Yeah.
Sales California making $250,000.
Wow. This is definitely not representing the entire industry, of course, right?
This is disturbing for me, right? Like, if the person told me that I disturbed them by referring to a young lady as a young lady, I was like, losing money and getting paid $250,000 with a VP sales title that don't know the math of their funnel. That disturbs me. I get disturbed with my waste and inefficiency.
Yeah, no, it's a really great point. I mean, the whole role actually of sales is to teach you this type of thing where there's a cost of not even considering alternatives because what you're doing is actually extremely expensive.
No.
By bringing on the help of all these SDRs, AEs, social media managers to put out content, like if you don't know the cost of that, then it's one of the bigger risks that you pose to the company actually because you're spending frivolously when you could be doing something very smart here. For example, hiring offshore, bringing on some tools, operationalizing, making it efficient, bringing on AI, and then all of a sudden you see the cost spike down by a quarter. And then you also get your time back. All of a sudden you feel like a superhero, but you never even consider that because you just had no idea of the actual costs. Yeah. And then you say, Amir, you're crazy. I don't know what you're saying. $120 for a meeting? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a cost.
I agree.
Awesome. Amir, it's been fantastic having you. And I know I learned a lot. We'll be following up later. How can people find out more about you and CloudTask?
My name, Amir Reiter, AmirReiter. They can find me on LinkedIn. It's anything by my name. I go by my name. And then CloudTask.com. I'm even on my website, using the live chat. So you can find me very easily with Amir Reiter, and I'm happy to help. And I'm always going to be producing content that hopefully is non-biased and helps people with their goals, right? Because I think if we all run efficient businesses or are employees that have really good jobs, we could travel the world and enjoy the world, enjoy this while it's still green, right?
Yes.
Get out there and enjoy it. And that's it, dude. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on, Amir. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, man. Take care.